Welcome to Happily Ever Aftermath.
The podcast where we discuss relationships in movies and our relationships with them.
I'm Polina Grunbaum.
And I'm Diana Rojek-Sconard.
Hi. Today we are talking about Harry Met Sally from 1989. And this is my movie. I picked this movie because I need a break from the pretentious choices of the past. My other option was Sid and Nancy, but I figured we can't have that much blood. We can't do two blood in a row.
Pretentious but entertaining choices.
Yes, Sid and Nancy is pretty good, though I haven't seen it in years. I don't know.
Okay.
But stay tuned if you're a Sid and Nancy fan. Who knows what's going to happen next?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, anyway, so 1989, Sid and Nancy. Very different movie. Very different ending. Harry Met Sally.
As Polina gets her notes together for what movie we're actually talking about, I'm going to grab the mic temporarily. We actually have something really exciting happening. We are participating in a campaign called 2 Pods a Day. And what you can do is you can go hashtag 2 Pods a Day on Twitter and Facebook. And you can actually look it up. Let's see, they have a website. Look up 2 Pods a Day. Mm-hmm. It's really exciting because what it's doing is it's introducing listeners to independent podcasts every day for the month of October.
And it's really cool because it gives like some visibility to a bunch of great indie podcasts. I've definitely found some through being a part of this campaign, and ones that you haven't even heard of, on topics that you didn't even realize that people were as interested in as you, or things that you don't realize you're interested in. And it's a great discovery thing. So it encourages you to listen more and listen indie.
Mm-hmm. We like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very cool. And while I'm on the topic of just really cool things that we're doing, mm-hmm. we're going to be at LA Podfest.
We are so excited. So excited.
No, we're not our podcast so much as just our physical presence is there.
Like actually us.
Yeah, we're going to
not our disembodied voices.
No, they'll be there too.
Not disembodied though.
Oh, I'm bringing mine.
Okay. Oh, you are? Oh,
yeah.
Damn.
So
we have to have a packing list. We need a packing list.
October 8th through the 10th. If you're wandering around LA Podfest, please come find us. We'll be tweeting and we'll hopefully run into you. We'd love to meet you.
Yeah. We'll, we're the two brown-haired girls in LA Podfest. I'm sure you'll be able to find us.
One of them with the disembodied voice with her. Yeah. And actually, it's really
How do you pack it? Do you have... Oh, we have to go to Bed Bath & Beyond now, get a carrying case for disembodied voices.
I have my secrets. Don't give my secrets away.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And actually what's really exciting is that we're also part of this group called the Lady Pod Squad. So shout out to these people. Ladies. They're so wonderful. And I know we're going to be meeting a couple of them for the first time. Very excited. So lots of stuff going on with us. But I'm done not talking about When Harry Met Sally. Polina.
Oh, thank God. Okay.
Get going.
It's so exciting. Okay, so... for those of you who have not seen this movie or have not heard of it, basically Harry Met Sally is a story of a love affair of two friends who meet not in college, right after college. They get kind of thrown together and they don't like each other. And then they become friends in New York. And then they fall in love and they get married. Mm-hmm. And that's pretty much the story. Not a ton of plot, but a super, super charming movie. So 1989, I guess was 16 or so. 16, I guess, turning 17 is sort of, latter part of high school. And
I was 17.
It was a very good year. I fell in love for the first time.
For some reason, I have fond memories of 1989, but I think that's when The Simpsons premiered. So.
That actually made 1989 really good. You're right.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was thinking of that Bowling for Soup song, 1985. That's unrelated. Sorry. Sorry. Movie.
Yes, movie. So I think I saw this in the theater, probably saw it with my parents. I've seen it a bunch of times since. Mm-hmm. I think I thought of it because can't remember who we're responding to. It was a best, who are your favorite movie couples?
Oh, that's a shout out to Film Roast.
Film Roast,
Who are your favorite movie couples?
Yes, and I Harry Met Sally was one of mine.
Did you say Perry?
No, I said Harry.
Okay, so official title, When Harry Met Sally, because you keep calling it Harry Met Sally.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're right.
No,
right. Thank you for correcting me. It's When Harry Met Sally.
I am a stickler.
1989. It is Meg Ryan, Billy Crystal.
Correct.
Carrie Fisher is in it.
May she rest in peace.
Yes. She's very good in this movie. Very charming. And Bruno Kirby
May
is
they rest in
Jess. Oh, Bruno Kirby's also dead.
Sorry. I got really sad when I got sad when she died, and then I got sad when I thought of this movie because I thought, oh, they're snuggling in heaven together.
They actually are my favorite couple in this movie.
Okay.
That's what I realized.
That is my opening to talk about the whole movie couples. I think the film roast question was, who was your favorite movie couple? But I got sucked into a different conversation about what couple are you? You and your spouse and all that other stuff. And we thought it, like, he and I, we don't have that much drama, that much turmoil. And so I'm like, I think we're more of a side character. We're the friends that kind of have their shit together.
I feel the same way. I feel like maybe I'm this couple.
Well, that's what I was thinking. I think that we are Marie and Jess because they're just so sweet together. I mean, I don't mean to be like tooting the horn of my own relationship, but I thought of us as them because
you guys are just perfect.
No, you said it, not me.
You're very sweet.
I thought of them because I thought that they were just so sweet together. Granted, I was not having an affair with a married man praying that he would one day leave his wife, and he was not a writer and all this other stuff.
I think they're not, it's not literal. It's like, what couple are you actually most like? Like when you watch, do you like turn to each other and go, yeah, we do that?
I'm not even, I think what actually sealed my perspective of we are that couple is every time we look at each other and go, promise me we never have to be out there again. And we'll just hug each other and go like, oh, no.
I think we've just been together for a long time, so we can't remember. I think we're more like this. We're just, I don't know. I'm very, and actually, that's what made me think of it is because I was really struggling with picking the last movie, or I'm like my next movie. Just couldn't. I don't know. I just couldn't get it together, and it was like time. I couldn't be like, it's an hour before the podcast. You have to like go watch this movie right now, Diana.
I need at least an hour and a half.
At least an hour, exactly. Well, this is why I can't do it an hour. I have to at least do it 2 hours, but But ever since asked that question, thank you, Film Roast, I just kept thinking about this movie and having just like warm, fuzzy feelings. And I know it's a big movie that people have a lot of opinions and have a relationship to.
I believe it's AFI's number 9 of romantic comedies.
Yep.
Yeah, and when you originally pitched this movie, I thought, oh, that's a big one. Okay, so we have to tread very lightly, very carefully.
But that's just not our way, so that's not going to happen.
That's my way. And when I say tread lightly, because, all right, this movie is not polarizing, but I will give you some thoughts that made me think that maybe it is.
Okay.
You suggested it, and I didn't want to, and I was trying to figure out why for a period.
Yeah, I could sense that, even though you didn't say it, because usually, just even over texts, it was like obvious something was up.
I was actually kind of pulling for Sid and Nancy.
Oh, yeah, I could tell.
But for me, it's again, it's a really, really big movie, and just I didn't want to do it, and I couldn't figure out why.
Yeah, why?
The first one was, well, this is a big one. We need to put our podcast muscle flexing in before we tackle such a big one. But I also just have this
our hit training,
awkward feeling towards it, and I slowly figured it out as I was rewatching it. The first one being, Billy Crystal doesn't act, he monologues. It's like, hey, I got my stand up here. I'm going to do this bit now. This is a tender moment. Hey, that reminds me, this bit. And so I didn't want to re-listen that. I liked this movie when I first saw it. I saw it later.
Yeah, when did you see it? Well, obviously you saw it in another time of your life.
I think I was in my mid-20s when I saw it for the first time. So it was past the...
Do you remember under what circumstances?
I think I just rented it and said, like, hey, this is one of those. We should probably finally see it.
Yeah.
So I don't remember where it was. And that's the point, though, is that I didn't see it in a point where I remember exactly where I was, and I watched it so many times. I don't think I did. I owned it on DVD, but I just didn't watch. It was one of the ones that stayed there.
Yeah.
And I didn't watch it over and over again. And I think when it comes to Rob Reiner movies, I'd rather watch The Princess Bride. I'd rather watch Spinal Tap.
I love The Princess Bride. I wish it was more romantic. I guess it has a romance. Maybe we can do it.
That is the go-to romantic movie that gets thrown at me by males. And I think it's like, that counts. And
that's funny. My husband did the same thing.
Well,
he's like, say anything, and...
Well, say anything, that's a real one, and I think that's got some real heart to it. But The Princess Bride, it's just like, hey, this counts because Fred Savage makes fun of it because there's kissing in this movie, isn't there? But this is... Okay, I'm sorry. This is about When Harry Met Sally, not The Princess Bride.
Princess Bride is a whole other podcast. So, we can't go down this rabbit hole.
No, that's probably going to be like episode 200. Yeah. Yeah, when we've finally... got a little bit.
When we're really, really sick of actual romantic comedy.
No, when we're done with that, we'll do Die Hard, for our Christmas special.
Okay, I have really embarrassing admission.
Save it. Okay.
For Die Hard.
Yeah, save it for Die Hard. Save it for our Die Hard episode.
Okay.
Okay. Here's the other thing that I was having a problem with. The original premise of the movie just pisses me off to no end.
That men and women can't be friends.
Men and women can't be friends.
Okay. Yes.
I let it distract me from trying to revisit this movie.
I don't blame you.
Okay.
So when I was picking this, I just kept thinking, and I kept coming back to it. I kept resisting because I was like, oh, it's such a classic, blah, blah, blah. But I was like, oh, this is a movie I do remember. I did rewatch several times throughout my life. But also I don't know, it just kept speaking to me. Like, I kept having all these warm feelings and wanting to watch it. And I actually really, really wanted to, like, both my husband and I were having a hard week, and I really wanted to, like, come home, make a green chili fish stew, and which turned out excellent, by the way.
Okay.
I do have notes. I will send them to you if you'd like.
Yeah.
But she, and just, like, cuddle up and watch it together because I thought it would kind of, like, cheer us up and... But then the friggin' Amazon on the TV wouldn't load. So I ended up having to watch it alone in bed on my iPad while he watched, I don't even know. I think he finished watching he's watching The Leftovers or something. Anyway, so that was kind of sad. Like, there was this whole, like, I remember this movie so fondly that I was, like, thinking I wanted, like, a big romantic night with, like, glasses of wine and watching Harry Met Sally, which is not really, like, something I'm usually into. But, I mean, the wine, yes, very much. And I have to say, like, rewatching it, like, there are the great lines.
Of course.
There's so many great lines. And there are lines I remember, like, one of my favorite lines I really remember out of this movie, there's the obvious I'll have what she's having thing, which is when, this is one of the most famous scenes of almost any movie, but I'll quickly recap it. Basically, they're in Katz's Deli, which also, I love Katz's Deli. I think about it on a daily basis.
On the bucket list for me.
So good.
Okay.
I used to live really close to it.
I was looking at that sandwich he was eating. I'm like, first of all, that's normal portion size. Second of all, it looks good.
Well, it's not normal portion size.
Well, no, normal human portion size. So I imagine they have the real... big.
No, but see, what you do is they don't serve normal portion size sandwiches. What you do is you take the middle out, you put it aside. This is what people like. No, you're not supposed to eat the whole thing. You're supposed to take out the middle, like she does, though she takes out too much, and she's eating turkey. It's very suspicious. Why is she eating a turkey sandwich at Katz's? That is so silly.
I'm gonna play devil's advocate here. I've had a turkey sandwich at the Carnegie Deli, but the Las Vegas Carnegie Deli, so don't get mad at me. The reason for that...
Okay. I've eaten at the Las Vegas Carnegie Deli.
No, I mean, like, I've had turkey...
The real one's closed now.
Well, that is sad. But no, the turkey sandwich at the Carnegie Deli. So I have done that. The answer to that question is two things. Number one, there was so much... I'm trying to lose weight. I'm not going to eat that much corned beef.
Yeah.
Second, because we're in Las Vegas... Okay, I know what I love. You don't have to sing it about it. Okay,
yeah, sorry.
That's fine. Now I can't remember what I was talking about.
You're talking about eating a turkey sandwich at the Carnegie Deli.
Have you ever had to take half of a corned beef sandwich or a pastrami sandwich from the Carnegie Deli and throw it away?
No.
I did. I had to because we were in Las Vegas, and I wasn't going to eat all of it because I didn't want to be sick for the rest of the day.
No, you're right.
We weren't going to take it back to the room, so we went.
Why wouldn't you take it back to the room?
Because we were wandering around Las Vegas. We were not going to take a cab.
Yeah. Oh, all
so
the way
go back to the room.
No, you're right. You're right.
So we could come back.
You
so
are
there
correct.
Is a picture of me.
No, that makes perfect
There's a sad
sense.
picture of me throwing away half of a, gigantic corned beef sandwich from the Carnegie Deli.
Is it wrong that I'm actually my eyes are pricking right now. I am that sad.
I will. You know what? I'm going to try to dig up that picture of the sad me throwing away the sandwich.
That makes me very sad.
So
it would make me sad too.
So when it was turkey, it wasn't so bad.
You're right, because it's turkey. No, okay. You know what? You've sold it. You've sold me.
Yeah, I know. Because
it makes utter sense.
Yeah,
you've totally sold me.
I know. Okay. So wait. Why are we talking? Okay, Carnegie. Okay, I'm sorry.
So there's a famous scene in which she's in the Carnegie Deli. Mm-hmm. Or sorry, she's not. Actually, she's at Katz's, and she is and she basically, there's this whole premise where Harry says to Sally, played by Meg Ryan, basically like, oh, I know that women like it because they have an orgasm, and she's like, well, some of them fake it, and he's like, I would know. So she does an entire extremely loud orgasm, at the end of which she, and everyone can hear it, and the woman at the table next to her, who is Rob Reiner's mother, actually. In real life, says, I'll have what she's having. But much better.
For the record, the writing is a lot better in this scene rather than just, I gave a woman an orgasm, therefore I know she had a good time.
Yes, I'm losing a lot of the subtlety. It's a great scene, and you can find it on YouTube, and you should totally look it up. But be
very careful when you Google that in YouTube, and what you pop up is...
Yeah, just Harry met Sally, I'll have what she's having is the safest. Mm-hmm. I think that's the safest.
So, famous scene, I mean, I read some trivia about it saying that is, it's like in the top 30 of quotes of all time, and that particular line, it's said by a non-working actor.
Yep.
And it's also, that's the only dialogue they have in the entire movie. Of all the quotes that they did, that is the only movie where that quote is the only dialogue that entire character has throughout the entire movie. Yeah. So I thought that was pretty... I had to read it 4 or 5 times to realize what they actually were saying.
Yeah, it was too. It was like, wait, why is that?
Pretty confusing.
But I actually feel like... So Nora Ephron, who has written... who is a really great romantic comedy writer. Like, I think she's really inspired also by, like, romantic comedies of the 40s and... like Desk Set and things like that. Like this kind of clever, fast dialogue. And
she actually is the inspiration for the whole, but I want it on the side. And
yes.
I don't want the pie heated.
I didn't know that.
Strawberry, but not vanilla.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. And actually a lot of their banter is also based on Rob Reiner and Billy Crystal's relationship.
Well,
and
according to the trivia I read as well.
Me too. I think we read the same trivia.
Grain of salt.
Yes. But it makes sense. Like it's very lively. And, and actually Meg Ryan, she's the one who suggested that.
Okay.
That whole scene. But the one I really love is when they talk about why. So Meg Ryan is talking to Billy Crystal when they re-meet. So they have a rocky first start. Yeah. They, frankly, Billy Crystal is just a terrible person when you first meet him.
Okay.
And
well, that's the instant Meg Ryan reaction. And what's funny is that as I watch it, I'm just like, why are you being so abrupt and just open with her? And then when she reacted to, what are you doing? I was just like, hey, lady, calm down. No reason to be so angry. So I thought it was so interesting that she's reacting in the way that I always want to react when people are saying things that I don't like.
Yes.
But then I got mad when she actually decided to react in a way that is actually, appropriate. Because I have the whole...
Wait, what do you mean by reaction?
Okay. So you said Billy Crystal is being kind of an ass, saying all of these different things and, and it just, you said that, you're just like, he's being kind of an ass. And she actually confronts him on it.
Yeah.
And I don't like that my reaction to that was, hey, Billy Crystal is being kind of an ass. It's, hey, Meg Ryan, why are you saying these things out loud?
That's right, because I actually love... So this is one of the great things about this podcast, is you have all these movies that you haven't seen in a really long time, and then you re-see them. And you realize that if this movie matters something to you, you actually have sort of, in a weird way, rewritten the movie in your head. So re-seeing this movie, like, as I said, I thought, oh, this is perfect, because this is the story of my husband and I. We were really good friends who became lovers.
Did you hate each other in the beginning?
We did not. we didn't really like. We had no reaction to each other in the beginning. I was kind of irritated by him.
This sounds like a horrible movie.
It was weird. We met. I don't even remember when we met. We worked at a bar together.
Okay.
And he actually would call me to cover his shifts. For the longest time, we didn't actually work exactly, isn't it? He didn't want to work on Thursdays.
Somebody's flirting.
I don't think he was flirting. We were both actually seeing other people when we met. So
that would have been bad.
That would have been bad. But, whatever. It's but so we didn't even like really register. Like, I actually don't think he registered to me until actually his girlfriend, like one of the days that his girlfriend moved to New York, and that's one of the reasons that they split up. Okay. And so she, and I remember that night, like, I remember seeing him, and one of our other coworkers was like, "Oh, his girlfriend just left." Like I was like, "Oh, that's really, really sad for Sean." And I think it was like the first time he really registered to me as like a person.
Now, let me ask
which
you
is
a
weird,
question.
I guess.
If
like I was like a cute guy I worked with, but I didn't really.
If he's a male in a relationship, was there like a switch that turns on and off if they, on a relationship?
No, it wasn't that. It was more like I just was like I saw him as a person and not a coworker.
I would have. Wait, what?
Well, like he was. I don't know.
He's not a person. He's a coworker.
Well, do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. He just became like more than one-dimensional. Okay. That's what I mean. I don't mean like, and then later on, I mean, I was actually seeing someone but later on, but we became friends. So it wasn't even like I was interested in him. It was more that like, I kind of noticed him or took him more than like, Anyway, it doesn't really matter. I don't remember the timeline. It was so long ago, but that seems to be the thing.
Considering the relevance to your relationship as a whole, it does matter.
That's true.
So, okay. So, friends...
I really need a better memory.
So, friends, and then from coworkers to friends to broken up with to, were you friends?
We were really good friends.
Did you hang out a la When Harry Met Sally? Dinner, just the two of you?
Totally. Really? A lot. Mm-hmm. Well, we did a lot of like, we're working on this arts commission thing called the Scottish Cultural Arts Foundation. And we did a lot of, because we had the same schedule. Well, we worked together, obviously, so we hung out then. Yeah. But yeah, we lived, so we didn't live that close to each other. But yeah, we would hang out. We'd hang out after work a lot.
Proximity to each other, okay.
But then we'd go out to dinner. We'd have lunch. We would like walk around, do things. We'd run errands when he had a car. We'd like, I don't know. It was just there was a lot of Harry Met Sally hanging. We never had a conversation about how men and women cannot be friends.
Did you have conversations about your current relationships?
Oh, all the time.
Yeah.
All the time. We talked about people where we had crushes on. We talked about people. It was weird when we started dating each other because then we're like, do we stop doing this? Or like not crushes on, but like people like we'd be in a restaurant and be like, hey, is that person attractive?
Oh, okay.
Like I find that person attractive, and then we'd be like, oh, I should probably stop this, and then we're like, nah, why?
Oh no, Ryan and I do a version of that where we'll go out to a restaurant and I'll just scan the room and I will find the person that I think he would be most attracted to, not including myself.
Yeah, I like that.
Not
game.
including myself.
Yeah.
Let me underline that 3 or 4 more times.
Yeah, no, I get it. I understand.
Because I'm number 4, always.
Oh, no.
My self-esteem is low.
I know, but you shouldn't be.
Doesn't matter.
That makes me sad. Anyway,
don't.
I think think Diana's awesome, and it makes me sad that she doesn't. So, and she has amazing hair. God, I really envy her hair. But that's another conversation.
Focus.
So Meg Ryan also has amazing hair. See, I'm bringing it back. Okay, so the thing about this movie
it's 80s-tastic.
Her makeup is really good, much less 80s than I thought.
No, and here's
it's 89, it's like right on the edge.
So spoiler alert, they have sex with one another, and then she's up the next morning, and her makeup is flawless.
Oh my God, yes. And even like to the lip gloss. Well, yeah, I mean, it is a fantasy, so I'm going to go with that. But yes, it is flawless. And to top it all off, she'd been crying for like hours before.
Oh,
her eyes were not puffy. She looked, that was the first time where I was like, oh God, Meg Ryan is really pretty.
Oh.
Like in that scene, that was like a moment. But okay, I'm digressing. I'm going to go back to my favorite line.
No, is that... Oh, I'm sorry. I interrupted you.
No, it's okay.
No, was that supposed to show that even if you're crying nonstop about your life, that if you find the love of your life, then you'll be absolutely gorgeous the next morning?
I was going with, because they've already been found, I was going with good sex makes you look amazing the next day.
Okay. I actually did want to say that, but I'm pretty sure my mom's going to start listening to this podcast soon. So
okay.
I'm going to have to start charading what I'm thinking to you, then you say it, and then I didn't say it, so Polina said it, not me.
Okay, good. As long as we have that ground rule, I'm fine. Should we have a hand signal?
I will never have what she's having.
Ever.
Yeah.
And she didn't even know what that line meant, I swear. I had to explain it to her. Mom.
Moving on.
Not my mom.
Moving on.
Because my mother will never listen to this podcast.
Wishful thinking.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
That's my fantasy. So my favorite line that I keep thinking about, the two that always come up is the whole thing about the airport. He basically, Billy Crystal's really cynical.
He's monologuing again.
Yeah. And he says this great thing about how basically, oh, you guys have only... He runs into her for the second time at the airport. And she's with a colleague of his, Joe. And he says, oh, you guys have only been seeing... It turns out they're on the same plane. And he says, oh, you haven't been seeing each other for very long. And she goes, well, how do you know? And he goes into this whole thing where he's like, well, the beginning of a relationship, you can never take them to the airport, because at some point you're going to stop taking them to the airport, and then you're going to have an argument about, well, why aren't you going to the airport? And I think about this every time my husband does anything for me, which is a lie. He's very nice. He does drive me places.
This resonates for you. Okay.
Yeah. So that resonated for me then, because I literally took that and the thing where you're supposed to put... There's another cynical thing. These were my takeaways at 16. One, the airport thing really, really is something I thought a lot about. Okay. It's really advice I took to heart. And then also putting your names in the books. At one point, they're helping their friends move in. Mm-hmm. And it's like they're first moving in, and he just runs into Billy Crystal. Harry runs into his ex-wife.
Right. So correct. Billy Crystal runs into his ex-wife, and he's having just like an emotional problem. But they're on their way to go see their two best friends, Jess and Marie. They're moving in together, and so they're fighting over a wagon wheel coffee table, and this makes Harry snap. Yeah. And then he goes into what you're talking about right now.
He goes into this like basically rage-filled monologue about how like one day you don't realize it now, but you're gonna split up like him and his ex-wife, who he just ran into, looking amazing
with Ira.
It is Ira.
It's Ira.
It's Ira Sheldon. No, it was Ira.
No, right. Sheldon's the guy you don't have good sex with.
Yeah. So putting your names in all the books, I totally did that. Mm-hmm.
You put your names in all your books?
Well, the CDs, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I didn't do it with Sean, but I did it when I moved in with my boyfriend Chris.
Oh, okay.
I put him in all the CDs.
Okay.
Oh
no.
So anyway.
I'm just realizing that I would do the same. Ryan and I, even when we were going together for like at least...
we kind of did do it. We put them on different shelves.
Oh, I was about to say, Ryan and I would go to Best Buy together and buy movies together, the same movie. Well, we weren't living together. We were dating, but we had been dating for maybe 6 years.
Oh, wow.
I can do the math on this, but, I remember the day we stopped doing it was the day we both bought 300. And then after that, I realized, what are we doing?
Yeah.
What are we doing? Oh, my God. That's my When Did We Fall in Love?
That might be
the movie of my life. We bought the movie 300, and then I realized, why are we both buying the same movie? We were in it's a Mountain Mike's Pizza. I believe that's a chain. Oh God, what am I doing? Sorry, When Harry Met Sally.
I have to admit that I fell in love with my husband after. I was really good friends with him, and we started dating. But we went to a Pilates class.
I want to ask questions about that, but really quick, for the record, that's not when I realized I fell in love with him. That's the day I realized I was probably going to marry him.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it was Pilates. It was seeing 300?
No.
I mean, the fact that you're like, I don't need to buy two of these anymore.
No, he can buy it, and then I can just borrow it from him.
That's what I mean. Like, I don't need to, like, we actually are a team.
No, we still were in a team. I just didn't want to spend more money. Never mind.
That's still, like, the same thing as a team.
This is not romantic anymore. Pilates.
I think it's very romantic.
Tell me Pilates.
But I'm nougaty. I'm, soft that way. Well, it was just, like, his reaction. He was the only guy in the class, and he was super, had never taken it, and I was kind of into it at the time. And he had never taken it, and he, it's hard, and he had to get a lot of instruction. She just kept, like, pointing out, like, oh, this is, you might want to do this, but actually you should be doing this. And she was kind of using him as an example a lot. And I thought he'd be super embarrassed because he's the only guy, and a lot of the people, like, Pilates wasn't like it was kind of a big thing then, I guess. And he got out and he's like, wow, that was really interesting. I learned a lot. I thought he would be like, oh my God, that was so humiliating. Like, I'm not clumsy, I'm not flexible. I'm not this. And I'm like, I just loved that he just didn't have that kind of weird ego stuff.
So he didn't come, not self-conscious about it, therefore.
Yeah, which just like made me feel like this is a person that is open to new experiences and doesn't like kind of
Pilates.
Always put themselves into it. We never went to another Pilates class. I just want to say we didn't become Pilates instructors and like start our own Pilates studio in Bali. That's not how this story ends. But it just was the way that he reacted to it, that he wasn't like, that learning something was more important than being self-conscious.
Interesting.
I just like, I don't know, he was just game for stuff, and I liked that.
There you go.
I kind of can't, I'm not describing it very well.
Well,
but it was nice. Like, I don't know, it was just one of the many moments where I was like, this is a wonderful person.
Now, did you have this is just like when Harry met Sally moment, or was this? Oh, okay.
No, I don't even think I thought about it, but it was funny because I was thinking about it a lot because I thought, as I was saying, like, I was really excited to see this movie. Because it clearly, like, I clearly learned a lot from it. Those 2 tips are really not terrible tips. They're good tips. They're good tips when you move in together. Put your name, especially in the things that you really care about, especially when you're younger. They were a little older. But the other...
It's called the will. It's called it's called a prenuptial agreement.
Yeah, but what if you're not married? You can't make a prenuptial. You can't make a prenuptial agreement if you're not married.
You can make a post-moving in agreement.
You can.
No.
You can. But it somehow seems like if you do the thing in your books, it's just like, it just seems less aggressive and just more practical and less unromantic.
I have a scary memory, so for the most part, I can say if it's mine or not. Yeah. Except we've been married for a really long time.
I think that's a problem. Like, that's what he's saying. But regardless, so the point, and then the other one, the one I really like one of the great comedic moments of this movie, there's many, is when they meet again, and they're both going through they both just had a big breakup.
He just got divorced. She just had a big breakup with Joe.
And it was brutal. Like, basically it was
after 6 years.
Leaves him for... Harry's wife leaves him for another guy and does it in this really strange way, Ira. Anyway, so she's, Meg Ryan's just talking about when she she realized that she was kind of living the wrong life, really. Like, basically, she realizes after spending time with a friend's daughter that she really kind of wants a family, and it hits her really fast. And I think that made sense to me, this sort of, I don't almost know what I want until it like hits me and I start crying.
This particular scene is very important because the whole time throughout this movie, Meg Ryan's character, Sally is just very detailed. She knows exactly what she wants and she's going for it, and that's what comes into the quote of when she orders her pie, the exact very specific, I want my Bloody Mary mix to be just a splash on the top, nothing but tomato juice, and then I want some celery, but I want it on the side, something like that. And it's just, she's taking that approach to her relationship as well.
Yeah.
And the fact that she is just being very open about this. That's actually a criticism observation that Harry has as well. You hold it in, you don't get upset about these things, and then when it falls apart, she's just like, no, I just realized we were in different places, and that's when I decided to walk away, and I feel very good about it.
Yeah.
So when she opens up about how she wanted a family, it's opening it up just a little bit, and it's just emotional, and that's beautiful.
Yeah.
And then she immediately goes back to, and that's why we broke up, and that's why, and I'm very happy about this because I know that's not what he wants, and that's what I want. And it's a tiny glimpse.
Yeah. It's a real, like, and it is a moment where it's like, what's great about it is she doesn't realize until she's in the cab and she's with this little girl and they're playing I Spy, and she says, I spy a family. And she just bursts into tears. Like, one thing I actually like about her, she's like really pretty open and aggressive, which not aggressive, that's not the right word.
If I could piggyback on that. So one of the notes that I took that was pretty important, besides the whole, geez, Sally, calm down, you know, she's like instantly attacking Billy Crystal, even though, you're just stating facts, you know, you're a very attractive woman, you know, and she's like, what is wrong with you? And again, in hindsight, that's perfectly reasonable. But my instant perspective is I need to be in the car for him for the next 12 hours, so I'm just going to bite it, and then I'll never see him again, where she confronts him immediately. So looking at that now, I'm thinking, good for you, thumbs up, lady. Yeah. But in the beginning, when he's saying, oh, you've just never had good sex, and she walks into the first restaurant when they're on the road trip, and then she says, I've had lots of good sex, and then the restaurant goes quiet and everybody stares at her and she's mortified. Yeah. What I appreciated is that later on, this is the woman who is just really upset. She says this thing and now she's really embarrassed, and then pan to on the plane. He's like, we met here, right? You know, did we have sex? And the guy she immediately turns to the person sitting next to her and goes like, we never had sex. Yeah. Like, it matters. All the way to faking an orgasm in the restaurant. In a restaurant. And I'm looking, really look loudly at this growth. Yeah. Well, this is actually what's interesting is like the movie does, they both change as people. Like when you see them in different parts, as they are from college graduate to exactly. So 12 years later. I think she's 32 when they first have sex. I wrote this down. So, well, I don't know if it's like 32. Because she says, I'm 40. And he's like, when? When are you turning 40? And she goes, 8 years. No, she said, someday. Which, okay. And he says, 8 years. Yeah, and so you're correct. She's 32 when they have sex for the first time. And I wrote all of this down because it used to be that one of the reasons I had such a big problem with this movie is that I remember the quote incorrectly. I could have sworn for years she says, and I'm going to be 30. You know, I could have sworn that she was crying because her ex is getting married and she's upset because I'm going to be 30. He's like, and I remember him saying, yeah, in like 6 years. And she goes like, oh, rub it in. Why don't you? Yeah. It's 6 or 8. You're right. Yeah, maybe 6. No, it is 8. Okay. I wrote it all down. But no, I misremembered the first time I saw it. And for years, I was just so angry. It's like, F you, Meg Ryan. Oh my God, I'm 24 years old and my ex is getting married. You know, I just so bitter towards that. And I'm like, 22 when I'm bitter towards 24-year-old Meg Ryan. No, I am. I'm just like, I'm actually often bitter towards Meg Ryan. Well, I'm not a big Meg Ryan fan, so I don't even know what it is about this movie. So the thing that interesting point. But my favorite, I keep getting distracted from my favorite line, which is what started this, which is that she goes this whole thing where, because they talk about how great it is they don't have to have kids because they can just jet off at a moment's notice and they can have sex in the middle of the kitchen. And she says to Joe, the thing is, we don't actually, we don't jet off at a moment's notice. And then Harry asks, what about the kitchen floor? And she goes, very cold Mexican tile. I mean, there's more to that, but it was just so great. It was like, just the way she does it is so good. The implication is like... It's never happened before because cold Mexican tile, which I was like, yes, makes perfect sense. I mean, cold Mexican tile, what happens to your head? I don't know, whatever. Anyway. This just got meta because it's just like, that's something that you see in a movie and therefore you want to do it. Exactly. And so the movie person is saying, no. Exactly. That's what's genius. Because I think this is the movie why I think I love this. So I love this, I think, was into this for several reasons when I was younger. Yes. And there's a lot to like about this movie, and I'm glad you're talking about it because I'm remembering, like, again, F you, Meg Ryan, you're 24. Yeah. Incorrectly remembered, but 32. She actually does make the comment, oh, no, the clock doesn't start ticking until you're 36. Yeah. Again, F you, Meg Ryan. no, don't telling me there's a time when you should be and doing this and doing that and you're running out of time and this is when you should
Well,
be.
but you feel that way, though. I think that's actually a very practical...
It is.
I mean, at 32, that is actually makes sense.
It is a biological fact. I'm not going to deny that, but I rooted.
Thank you. Good, because we're not doctors, so I feel a little weird. I don't have a leg to stand on.
I'm not going to deny the biological fact that when you're 36 years old, but she's talking about marriage. She's not talking about children.
But she is, because she says a family.
Isn't. No, she is, but she isn't.
That's what gets her, is the fact that she says she's a family.
So, the comment like that I'm focusing on, men and women can't be friends, I've focused on. And the third one that I really didn't get, like, when they're watching Casablanca. And, Ingrid Bergman, she's low maintenance, Oh, well, what am I? I'm like, you're the worst kind. You're high maintenance, but you think you're low maintenance. And again, it's just like, why are you allowed to speak right now? How are you friends right now?
It's fun. Okay, so I definitely had a thing. First off, I've had this conversation I have a lot of male friends, and I've had a lot of male friends over the years.
Screw you, premise of the movie. Polina has tons of male friends.
Exactly. Including our esteemed producer, your husband, who I consider a friend.
Wow, I forgot already.
But I guess that follows Harry's second rule.
Okay, that's an actually okay.
But I just
second rule.
So
by the way,
my remembrance of this movie is that everyone is. I'm like, because I'm not a big Meg Ryan fan. Even though as I said, I saw this movie when I was 16, so clearly this was like Meg Ryan's sort of romantic comedy moment. I've never seen Sleepless in Seattle. Mm-hmm. Have you?
Oh, no,
I
saw it a while ago and it didn't hit for me. I don't know if I saw it at the right time. That grunt was a whole, I know I've seen it.
I just find her, I mean, it's a shout out to Not Porn podcast.
Fantastic.
Who sums up, and I don't want to, because it's such a great, they sum up exactly how I feel about Meg Ryan, that she's just too cute and she kind of like irritates me. I thought I would be like, oh, this is the Meg Ryan before then. And that's the story in my head. I also was like, I don't remember why I found Billy Crystal like attractive, but
you did?
Well, I guess I must have, because I had some thing about this movie, but I was I just didn't think about, I guess I found him, I was like, I remember it being so much banter. I remember the whole thing about how men and women can't be friends, but I thought, that was like a 20s, stupid stuff guys say like in their 20s thing, but I didn't remember how often it came up. And also watching it a second time, because I have a terrible memory, so I actually usually watch the movies once where I'm really focused on the movie, and another time I'm usually doing just doing other things, but I have it on my iPad. And I was like, God, he's just spent so much time introducing the subject of sex, which, as I said, I have talked about with my male friends. I've also talked about high maintenance and low maintenance women with all my male friends, including like Sean, who claims I'm medium maintenance, by the way, which I think is kind of
that's a cop
couch.
Out. That's a cop out.
It's a total cop out.
But that's not the point right now.
Yeah. Okay. But I think it's probably fairly accurate. Because I'm not really low maintenance and I'm not really high maintenance.
Okay,
But I guess I remember, but the thing is, rewatching it, I'm kind of like the chemistry makes it obvious why they're friends.
Please elaborate.
Just their way together, the way that they are together, their comfort, it really does feel like a real friendship, that kind of friendship that isn't based just on activities you do together, but the kind that I kind of described earlier when I was talking about Sean. We did stuff together, we ran errands together, we rented a U-Haul to together and planned an entire day of errands that can only be done with a U-Haul. And I've had this with other male friends of mine, that was that. And then also I her whole, now thinking about what you said about Meg Ryan and how she was in a car with him for 18 hours and she said this thing, to me, I'm pretty like a lot of people consider me really nice, quote unquote, in that I'm not terribly confrontational, but I am really I am actually much more argumentative and confrontational with people I am comfortable and happy with.
Okay.
Like then I kind of do it. Like I have a friend Jeffrey, we argue all the time and it's really fun. I'm always calling him on stuff. Well, not always, sometimes I'm just too tired. But like so in thinking about what you said, I'm like, oh, that seems the kind of relationship that like she cares enough to engage. She's engaging back with him. But to be honest, like rewatching it, I'm like, he's kind of not the most likable. Which I'm not really into likable characters, but like he's just not. Like he's just weirdly, I mean, the neuroses, like I get, there's a certain kind of East Coast, I guess, banter that I remember engaging in a lot, and it feels very I mean, I shouldn't say East Coast. This is also another New York movie, and I love all New York movies because my fantasy was basically all the new, was like, how am I going to live in this city? Because at the time I was like, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to live in this city. I spent as much time in New York as I wanted to. I wanted these lives.
Okay.
And
there's another layer for you of why this movie speaks to you.
Yeah.
I agree with you that, Billy Crystal...
I was looking for my adult life, what my adult life looked like, and this was an attractive
Interesting. Okay. Go into what you were saying about Billy Crystal, and he's not such a, a good person so much.
He's very funny, but then he's rewatching... Like, I just kept going back and forth, because the third time I was like, he's so kind with her.
Intimate. Well,
he's intimate and kind, and he wants to be close to someone, and he's very much himself, but then he's kind of weirdly abrasive and weirdly obsessed about sex. And this whole idea that men and women can't be friends is so ridiculous on its face. It's like you can anyway, it irritates me.
Well, I'm there with you.
Yeah, no, really. Like more than I thought it would.
Well, the difference being that I came in here with, hating the premise, and you came in with I love this movie, and then you watched it. Here's what I'll give you for
it's funny. We ended up kind of in the same
place.
But you started where I landed.
Okay, so if I may.
Yeah.
Much like Meg Ryan's growth through the whole being embarrassed about something and then, having that scene where she's not embarrassed to, address, the orgasm in public. Billy Crystal, in the beginning, he's just blah, blah, blah. You're very attractive.
Let me tell you what you are.
It
was just so friggin', oh my God, that's like just like guys in their 20s telling girls what they are. Like, it's so annoying. I've spent so many years like actually listening to people when they told me what I was, especially guys.
And there's
and I love being middle-aged because I don't listen to those people anymore. And no one wants to tell me who I am because I'm invisible.
You know what you are, Polina?
What am I, Diana? I'll take it from you because I respect your...
I don't have a funny punchline to that comment.
Damn,
sorry.
Damn.
More improv classes.
I set it up, yeah.
Okay, so... Billy Crystal throughout this movie, in the beginning, I'm just like, I don't like you. I don't like you. I mean, and then again, it's just like, anything you say that's funny, you're just monologuing. It's just let me say this something because it's funny.
Yes.
Now, as it goes along, it gets to the point where they see each other again. He starts speaking the same way to her, and she laughs. He's like, see, you're not so uptight anymore. And I'm like, don't turn it back on her.
Oh my God, that's the thing. I totally forgot about that. And I felt the same way. I felt completely like...
But I've been that girl, and it's kind of irritating because it's one of those things where I hear that, I'm just like, did I hear that? I think I need to go onto Wikipedia and check out, was I just mansplained at? I don't know what's happening right now. Don't give me a new buzzword because I will totally run with it.
Oh my God, can I just the term mansplain is a big part of our relationship.
Please don't mansplain to me right now, Polina.
Can I mansplain to you our relationship?
You know what you are right now?
I'm a mansplainer.
And there you go. But here's something. Okay, so going back to the premise of our podcast here, I can't. Okay, okay, there is the blatantly obvious moment where it's New Year's, they're dancing together, he shaves his beard, I want to call it his depression beard, and, you know, they're dancing cheek to cheek, and there's that blatant moment with the music and the look on their face like, oh my God, this is different. Her, oh my God, this is different. Him, look on their faces. And that's when the movie's trying to say that that's the moment. But that's the moment of first confusion, and that needs to happen there. But I will tell you the moment when I thought that they were meant to be together. Not when they fell in love, but the moment they meant to be together is when they were having that fight. And she was angry because he's doing this. Harry, you can't be this person. You can't just, there are appropriate times to let out your anger. And Harry's like, what about you? What about you? And she finally lets him have it. And within an instant, he said, are you done now? I'm sorry.
There was a really beautiful moment even with the way she said, I'm done now. And he's like, are you ready to listen? And it was so lovely.
For some reason, the whole, are you ready to listen now? There was something different about the way he said it, because he's very, again, he's like, you know what you are, you know what you're this, you know, are you ready to listen now?
He said it in such a kind, sort of like, he genuinely was like,
I didn't hear
Where are you?
I didn't actually hear that. Again, I looked at it from
can I say something? He actually, I don't think he says.
Okay.
I think he says, can I say something?
Okay.
So I realize I'm misinterpreting. The way he said it was like, I'm genuinely asking. And she has this moment where she just goes, I am ready. I will try to be ready.
And okay, good, because I was like, I don't remember it that way, because if they said it that way, you know,
then
back to F you.
Angry,
But no, there is something that when he apologized, because the whole time it's just, well, you're uptight, well, you're high maintenance, well, you're this, you're that. Instead, it's just, I'm sorry. That moment. That's the moment there that I thought that they loved each other. I don't think that's when they fell in love, because when you're dealing with the complexities of friendship and marriage, because you can love each other, you can love each other as a friend, you can love each other as a romantic partner. And it's at that moment that I think that, well, I actually am not even sure that they should be together. And the people who wrote this movie agree, because originally in the original script they weren't supposed to be together. And I think, I would be conflicted, because I don't want that in my romantic comedies. I want happily ever after when my romantic comedies are going. But then there's the whole reality aspect of me. Am I doing this for my entertainment, or will this be more satisfying to the real life? I don't know if I would appreciate it. I just know that when they're telling their story at the end, I'm just like, yeah, that's their story, but for some reason I don't think they're as cute as all those other couples in the little...
Well, they're not as
Are they interstitials?
Yeah.
Is that the correct word?
Yeah, I think so.
And that's another piece of the movie that I felt kind of off towards, is that, please, I know it's sweet and it is wonderful, but please stop perpetuating this whole, the relationships that have the potential and will go the distance are these fascinating stories that you tell around the table. Here is, we met, and it was this dance, and I walked over there, I told my friend I was going to marry her, and I did, and 2 weeks later, we've been together, blah, 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 57 years. Here's our story. We met through mutual friends.
I think that's most people. We met in a bar, but at work.
But in the movies, you want to say, Grandma, Grandpa, tell it. Well, first of all, no kids give a damn about that story. Yeah. But it's the whole movie version of that. Grandma and Grandpa, tell us a story about you and how he.
Most
people
punched
out that guy.
That was actually the thing
how
that
he punched
I realized
out your current
about
boyfriend.
This. Yeah. But actually, most of those stories aren't that exciting. There's some. Obviously, he's taking stories that are the most interesting, and he's asking people how they met. I didn't know those aren't real people; they're actors.
They're the actors telling real stories.
Yeah. Which I didn't. I for some reason thought they were real people.
These are their stories.
No,
no. The stories are real, but they were actors.
Yeah. I didn't realize that. Yeah. I also could just like before we go into that, I have a kind of a complicated thing that I kind of forgot about when I realized when I saw this movie on repeat, which is that I had a really good friend when I was a teenager. I had a really good friend. We hung out all the time, and he had feelings for me. I had no feelings for him. I had a lot of friendship love for him.
You had romantically neutral.
Where I was romantically neutral, and he felt very much the opposite about me. And I think I saw this movie, and I remember we used to listen to the soundtrack together all the time. Harry Connick Jr.
Oh yeah.
Which is great. I mean, it's really good. Like, it kind of became a cliche of like Harry Connick Jr. doing these songs, but they're great songs. They're beautiful.
We have Michael Bublé now.
Yeah, he was like the Michael Bublé of his day, and but I just like, and I remember I would watch, and I think in his mind, we would watch this movie, watch it together. It was one of his favorite movies at the time.
You watched this movie with your friend a lot together?
We watched it probably once or like a couple times, maybe 2 or 3.
I'm having like an internal reaction to that.
Why?
Feeling bad that he had feelings for you, but you didn't have feelings for him.
Yeah, and we were super good friends, and it was, and we did a lot of stuff together, and we did a lot of theater stuff. I was a theater geek. I wasn't an actor. I was more of a techie, but I did acting and directing and stuff. But he like really watched, and so I would know that this was his fantasy, that we would one day end up together.
Oh, he had the ducky problem.
He totally had the but he wasn't really a ducky person. Like, he didn't relate to that movie at all, which is very funny because it is a ducky problem.
Did he have blinders on?
I think he did, but his fantasy more involved all those Harry Connick Jr. songs, or actually probably the original, like the kind of Louis Armstrong songs. But he loved, like, he would listen to Harry. Like, we would listen to this while driving around. Mm-hmm. That's what you did in New Jersey. You drove around, went to diners, and you and we. And he had this fantasy. And so this movie was kind of fraught for me for a long time because I realized he had this whole fantasy that, I would have this moment much like Sally did. Mm-hmm. And I knew, and the funny is, like, right around this time is the first time I fell in love with somebody too. Like, I was 17, so I was 16. And I really felt like, first love, stars, mm-hmm. wonderful. Like, we, we're together. It was amazing. Mm-hmm. And of course I, would tell him about it because that's what you do when you fall in love for the first time. And I think, like, as I watched, as sort of the evolution, like, before you would go to a movie at the theater and then months later it would come out in DVD or it would be on television. Things would be on television and you would watch them and you'd rent them. And it was almost like they had this whole, like, it's almost like over the course of a year, it had this life cycle. Mm-hmm. And during the life cycle of me watching this movie, it went from, like, oh, this really sweet thing that was going to be my future. I was going to move to New York and I was going to have these interesting relationships with people, with interesting people. It was going to be bantery and fun because we had a bantery and fun. Mm-hmm. It was like a riffing. Like, we had a lot of those conversations that sort of, to us at the time, probably felt like the Harry Met Sally conversation. Okay. And at the end of this time, I felt guilty. Like, I felt like, oh my God, he is waiting for me to have this moment and I'm not going to have it. And I told him about it. I mean, I said, look, I don't feel that way about you. We don't have to be friends. It wasn't like it was hidden. I mean, I'm not being like ego. I'm not like, oh, I know he had a crush on me, but he never told me. He told me these things and he would tell me repeatedly. And I started to feel really, like, guilty and horrible because I felt like this was something I was never, going to be. So anyway, sorry, that's my feeling about the movie. So going back to the thing we do at the end of every show.
Oh, that thing.
So yeah, when they fall in love, it's interesting because I totally, when I was rewatching, I was like, oh yes, it's obviously the first New Year's where they cheek to cheek, and they suddenly are like, wait, and they go, oh, you see some air, and it's like they're obviously have these feelings for each other, but they don't they get really, really kind of scared and they don't know what to do with it. And they're like, oh God, this is not going to work. Like, I don't know if this is going to work. I don't know. And I was just thinking of like, how do relationships, like that feeling of like, when you are really good friends with somebody, like with Sean, like how, making that transition is so scary.
That's actually what I was thinking this whole time.
Yeah.
Like, when were they in love? No, they loved each other beforehand.
Yeah.
The question is, when did the romantic switch turn on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it was maybe during that time, but I think I like your story better, but I still think that the real romantic switch of like, this could happen turned on.
Wait, I'm sorry, which story?
I like the story of like, when they had their first fight and they could make up.
Oh, that's that.
I think that's actually a wonderful.
That's when I saw it in them.
Yeah.
And you know how other people can see these things before you can? And
yes.
And then you hate them because they tell you, like, why didn't you tell me? Or how dare you tell me? I know my own self. I personally think that that's when I thought that they loved each other. But the thing is, this one has a spectrum. This is not
there's
pounding
not
you over
1
the head.
minute.
Yeah, except for the whole, dancing cheek to cheek. That's when they're feeling that there could be something that isn't. But I believe, for the purposes of this podcast, they fell in love when she did not hesitate to call him when she found out about Joe, and he did not hesitate to go to her in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
That moment right there. Not the sex. The whole apology thing is when there was a solid foundation of friendship. With the romantic switch.
And that was before the Joe thing.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah. Because that was...
Yes, because then they start having the big fights.
I think that they...
When she didn't hesitate to call, when he didn't hesitate to come over, bam, that is my judgment.
That's a really good one. Because I thought it was, I think so I think that he realized that he might have feelings for her when the day that okay, this one's gonna be a little long. When they were in the museum together, they're in the Metropolitan, and they're in the Egyptian area.
Hello, improv scenes.
And it's an improv scene, and he basically invites her to dinner.
Oh, I thought you said he fights her to dinner. That would be so hilarious.
That'd be so awesome. They fight for... that's what we do when we fight over the check. We fight for dinner. That's a different whole thing.
So you think... that's when
I think that
he fell in love with her?
I think he actually realized it right before. Because I agree with you, it's complicated. It's
spectrum.
Yeah, it's a spectrum. And I think he was asking her out. And then in that moment he realized, oh, wait, this is something. Like, this is something. And then he's like, oh, wait, no, it's not going to go this way. And he's happy for her. Like, that is actually also the thing. That he says, oh, you have a date as if it's ridiculous. Like, wait, what are we doing? We're hanging out together. We're both having trouble getting over it, but we have this like comfortable, happy thing. This is what we both want. Like, this is the other thing. They both want this.
She also she felt bad when she said she
exactly.
did have a date.
She felt really bad. But I thought that was so, like, he realized it. And his thing was like, I'm sad, because it seemed like he introduced the whole like weird voices. He does this whole thing where he like makes them talk in weird voices. That he introduced it to make this awkward moment less awkward. And he just like really that he goes from being sort of sad, like, oh, okay, I didn't think of that, to like, oh, this is good. Like, I want her to be happy. Yeah. And it was that generosity is like, I could go either way as long as this person is in my life. I do have to say, as a total West, I was not prepared for this. I was rewatching it, and I was having all the, weird, like, oh my God, he's kind of a dick. Yeah. But yet really charming. Like, they're neither of them are likable, but they're both charming. It's a very odd combination, and it's one of those great movie magic things that you can have somebody be unlikable, because I can't stand how uptight she is. Yep. But also, it's a turn off. But also, she's extremely charming. And he's the same way. I kind of can't stand how sort of, bossy, but he's very charming.
I hate throwing this out in the romantic comedy genre, but they're both neurotic in their own ways.
Yeah, well, and that's why they can't get together. It's like they both...
That's what I read in the trivia as well. There's no fiance, the evil fiance or something.
There's no plot point.
There's no plot point. There's the only thing this is the exact quote, the only thing that are keeping these two apart is their own neuroses.
And that's, I think, why, what I was saying about feeling guilty. Because I realized that was the narrative that my friend had.
Okay.
And it made me feel horrible because I'm like, no, I know the truth. There is... The thing that's not keeping us together is I don't have these feelings for you.
But if it were the movies, if you gave him like an hour and a half, eventually you would fall in love with him.
That is very true. Yeah.
Unless you had an Andrew McCarthy.
Yeah, so I always ended up hanging out with him only for 67 minutes.
Okay.
Because it's usually around that time that the kind of romantic plot, resolves. So I really it goes on. That's kind of the denouement. Like that's when it goes and it sort of starts to spiral into its inevitability. So I always gave it 67 minutes. That's my pro tip. I didn't. We hung out for hours.
Nice. Question.
Yeah.
What happens after the movie?
Yeah.
Not your life.
No. You know what? There was actually Harry Sally Met Part 2.
Oh, yeah.
I had no idea about this.
Wait, no, I have a question for you. Were you only looking at IMDb? Did you actually watch it?
No, God, no.
Oh, no, honey, this is a Funny or Die bit.
It is?
Yes. No, it's not real.
Oh, my God. I was, really upset. I was kind of ridiculously upset.
No.
I was
I watched this recently.
We'll never watch this.
Before you suggested the movie, I had looked at it and I'm just like, oh my God, I remember this. And I click it on. No, it's Funny or Die.
Okay, I'm going to watch this immediately because I love Funny.
It's no more than 10 minutes long.
Oh my God, I'm going to watch it.
Okay.
But I will say what happens next. I think that they they have a strong support system. They have their really good friends, and which is always my thing, that if you have a strong support system, you, statistically speaking, go the distance longer. I think the kind of nice thing is that they're both neurotic and they've accepted each other's neuroses. At the end when they get together, which I have to say, after being irritated, I totally had the goofy smile on my face and got goosebumps and kind of, my eyes pricked a little bit and I just kind of loved it. I think, and in that time, she doesn't just go, I love you. He does that weird monologue thing and she just goes, whatever. It's just about old friends. They're talking about the song Auld Lang Syne.
Oh, okay. So not the part where they're sitting on the couch together telling their story. This is They
right
declare
when they declare their love.
They declare love for one another, and then he, of course, has to go back to, this is too serious. I'm going to start complaining about the song Auld Lang Syne. Yeah,
which is kind of also very much my relationship. So she
with the song.
No, with the we always have to make some joke in every sweet moment.
Your actual relationship. Yeah. Okay.
But in this relationship, not mine, is that I think
Shall I jump in?
I'm trying to remember. No, I think that they very much I wonder if they have kids. That's actually my big question. And I wonder how they'd be as parents.
I'm going to say...
I don't think they do.
I think they do.
Really? Okay.
I think so, because she had made a point that she wanted to have a family. And
he never mentions it either.
He never mentions it either, but I remember in the beginning when they're on the plane together, he said that he's getting married. She's like, really? And he's just like, oh yeah. So I can see him the idea of having kids together just being shut on very quickly. Like, this is something that is available to me in my life. Oh, this is something that I want. Yes, let's do this. As much as he just got married,
I think he would do it because it's something she wants. And the way he looks at her is you know what? I'll do anything this person.
I agree with
make
that,
them happy.
But I don't want to make that kind of just blanket statement about that, because I think it's going to be a little bit more than just she wants them, I will do them. Because I have this perspective that particular type of relationship, I'm going to let you have this kids are a big thing.
Yeah, I don't mean in that way. Like, because I think that actually, I think
she's going to be the one pulling the let's have kids forward.
She's going to be pulling it forward. Yes, I think that's what I mean. Thank you for clarifying.
Okay, he's not going to be putting the brakes on there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so together we came to the same conclusion. But you don't think they will? You think they'll be doing it?
For some reason, and I think it's because, to me...
They're going to be doing it on the cold tile.
They're going to be... Yeah, no, they're not going to make this mistake. They're going to get something nice, something a little more... something a little more give. I don't know what it would be. Mm-hmm. I don't know much about... I'm a renter, so I don't know much about, maybe some, they're going to live in a pre-war building. There's going to be a lot of that. And she cannot decorate that apartment. She is not allowed to decorate an apartment. She has the worst decorated apartment I've seen in a movie.
I don't know much about decorating.
Terrible.
The walls were up.
The walls were, the stripes were okay. Then they had this, it was horrible curtain. Anyway, it was terrible. I hated that room.
Okay.
But I think that so a lot of my fantasies about where they're, had to do with, like, where they were going to live and how many books they had and all this stuff. But I think...
Were their names in the books?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Still? Okay. I would take that as an affront to my marriage. If I were her. Okay, not really.
Well, but I think they're both... this is the thing. It's like they're both practical, and it's sort of a cute thing.
No.
It's like,
how
it's a hedge.
No, I just realized this. No, it's not going to be a cute thing. You know how it's going to be a cute thing? He and she are going to move in together, and she's going to write her names in her books, and that's it. He's going to laugh, and she's going to do it as a joke.
Oh, I like that. Yeah. I really like that.
I think so.
I buy that. I totally buy that. I would buy that. It's funny. I think they will. I worry that they'll start to irritate each other. I think they're going to become one of those couples that, like, when you go to a Wednesday matinee in New York.
I'm already out.
Really? That's like my favorite thing whenever I go back home.
Number one, I'm employed. Number two, I've never been to New York.
Oh, really?
I've never been to New York.
Oh my God.
We're
gonna have to do a thing. So of course I worked in theater, so I would get free tickets to things. I often would get Wednesday matinees if I was doing a show because when I worked there, I didn't work an office job. I was working in I was doing theater stuff. And but I would get, or I would go for work, or we would have Wednesday matinees and I would have to work them if I was not in rehearsals. And so so there's these couples, there are these old, like, couples, and would sit behind me, and I love these guys. And whenever I go to New York now, I always try to go, like, I try to, at the very least, go see something, go see a Wednesday matinee, or for some reason, I like them better than Sundays.
Define these couples.
Yeah, I don't even realize it until last time that it's not even these couples. Sometimes they're just friends, and they kind of, like, they bring snacks. They, like, maybe they bring snacks. It's a little bit much, but they sit in the back. They kind of complain. They kind of bicker in this, like, cute and loving way, and that is what I imagine. Okay. Like, that they kind of bicker in a cute and loving way. The other thing is that neither of them wants to date, because they were both terrible daters. So I actually, you know what? I was questioning if they were going to go the distance, but I'm committing. They are going to go the distance because they want to make it work.
Okay.
And they're going to become one of those bickering old couples. And
to be fair, they were bickering young couples.
Exactly. But they're going to, it's going to be less like jokes. I think they're going to be very sweet.
I think that the years eventually, it's just like, I don't want to fight anymore, but also we have so much together. It's going to be, we're going to bicker, but it'll either be in good fun or it's just going to be like love.
Yeah. These bickering couples aren't, like, when I see them, it's like, it's very sweet, because it's like, it's just like an entanglement that they have with each other about, like, oh my God, make sure that you open the wrapper, the candy wrapper, before the movie. There's always a lot of candy wrappers in this scenario.
I don't. Okay.
Not the movie, before the play, because you don't want to, crinkle.
The crinkling. Yeah. No, I understand that.
Or, like, did you go to the bathroom? Because
I will point out.
You know about your prostate. prostate.
So
I can't even speak.
So you can see them in a theater in New York, and all these years later, I see them together. They've gone the distance. They have their kids. I'd also like to point out, though, in real life, that Billy Crystal is 13 years older than Meg Ryan. So I can see a widow situation, but
in the movie, they are both moving to New York. So I think they're meant to be the same age.
They're meant to be
because
the same age.
They actually move. I mean, the most they could be is like he's leaving graduate school and she's leaving undergrad.
So much like the whole biology 36 thing, I'm gonna say she's gonna be a widow, but she's gonna be like the way.
Well, he's so neurotic. He knows, he's going to die
he's
early.
so obsessed with death that I think it's going to be one of those things. Oh my God!
Oh God! Now it's really sad because he's so obsessed with death, and she's going to be the one to die first.
Okay, first of all,
and then he is having to really deal with death, really deal with death. It's gone to a very dark place in my mind now.
Okay, in your mind, yes. Let's come back to my mind now.
Wait, why do you get a mind? It's my movie.
Well, you already said your ending, so calm yourself. No, in the
I haven't left my mind. Okay, I'm ready. I'm ready to hear what you have to say.
No, he is going to die first, but it's also going to be a scenario because she is the bright and chipper one. She's going to make the funeral to be a little bit more bright and sunny in her own way. Because of their life together. I don't know why I went there.
I think it's the irony. That's really nice. But I guess to me, the irony
nice.
of... Yeah, you're trying to take it out of the dark place. I'm still there. I'm sorry. I can't leave.
I'm the one who didn't want to go into this movie with the whole angry feminist men and women can't
See,
be
this
friends.
is what happens. You never know what's going to happen when you revisit your childhood favorites.
For the record, I have no male friends.
Really?
Yeah. So I was trying to go with it with the whole men and women can't be friends. Do you have any male friends? Not the point.
Yeah.
But that's just because I don't really have that many friends, period. So.
All these people that are missing out on having you as a friend.
If you'd like to be my friend, you can contact us on Twitter at HEAMCast. We're actually on Facebook, where you actually do friend stuff.
Yeah, you can friend stuff.
At Happily Ever Aftermath.
And you should, because she's a great friend.
Well, stop it. Please don't friend me. I'm bad on Facebook.
Oh my God, he can't be worse than me.
Challenge accepted.
Oh, it's on.
Okay. Not on.
Now I have an excuse, or rather, it's not on at all.
Now,
it's just like
whatever. So when Harry Met Sally, they're gonna die. The end.
Yep. The only thing you have to. So actually, please answer. Which one do you think is gonna die first?
Okay. I run the social media, so if you want to run that poll, feel free to. But I'm gonna hide the password.
Again?
No, you forgot. It's not me hiding it.
Oh, okay.
I think we're
that's hiding it in plain sight.
I think we're good.
I think we're good. This is actually as much as there are things about this movie that are irritating, I think it's actually a really lovely movie to watch. I think it's a good movie. I think it's well written. It moves really quick, and they seem like real people.
It's highly ranked for a reason, and again, because it doesn't fall into the same tropes, there is a lot to enjoy. So I think you would appreciate it. There's no evil fiance.
No, there's no podiatrist.
Again, with the podiatrist.
Always with the podiatrist.
I know the exact things to get you to say the word podiatrist. So there we are.
That's our drinking game.
I don't drink.
Well, the people listening to our podcast might need to.
Please
after
don't encourage
this.
them to drink to get through our podcast.
That's true. That's bad. This is why Diana handles the social media part of our podcast.
When did they die on Facebook?
Sorry.
Tweet. I can't even play drunk well.
It's true. Okay. I actually had a drink during this episode. I should probably be honest. Okay, so Harry Met Sally, 1989. Thank you for listening, and we can't wait for you to come back. And please see us at Podcast if you're there.
I'm looking forward to meeting.
Next time, we're going to do something a little different. We're lucky enough to have a fantastic guest talk about her pick, the movie Newsies. Can romance be found in the middle of a labor strike? How irritated is Diana at having to watch yet another movie musical? Tune in and find out.